Hello everybody, welcome to the Comics Get Art stream. How you guys doing? So, I know I titled this video, finishing the design for the Saint of Englewood, but it looks like I actually just finished it. I was working on it a little bit while I was waiting for responses from other people about things. And, yeah, it just so happened that I got to a point where there's nothing else I can do. But I thought I'd show you guys. So I did make some changes. I changed the mask design. I like it more. I'll show you. Zoom in a little bit here. First of all, I added padding to the bottom of the shoes. I like that I like Tabi's shoes for stealth characters. I mean, I think of him like a stealth character, so. Even though he's a martial artist, but I mean, you need a little bit of that because there are guys with guns, and you know you have like tonfas, so it's probably a good idea to try to get the drop on them. But I changed the mask. That's the main thing I wanted to fix. I also made some adjustments to the hood because I thought it was a little bit too high up, and I think this is a lot better. So the mask has more of an arch, like before it had like a coffin shape. which I thought was okay. But I actually really like this a lot more because it looks like a cathedral window. So it kind of like really sends home that, you know, a kind of like church vibe, I guess. You know, if you were gonna go with that, just tweaking things a little bit here. And so I dig that. I think that that fits, and again, it follows the motif, but it doesn't like really stand out too much, at least not for me, you know. And this is like what's going to be in this area here, like in here and here and here and here. That's a speaker. So, and this is just like a, you know, the frame for it, as it were. So this image is basically done unless I'm asked to do something else. I'm just gonna leave it alone. And since I haven't heard back, I'm gonna continue to do character profile illustrations before I go back to doing the pages, which I'm definitely gonna go back to as soon as I'm at a point now where they're, you know, where Micah and the Hatman are happy with what I have produced as far as promo material goes. But I also think that, you know, we have to like start like working on pages. So I'm sure it'll all work out. Deadly Dude Right says the mask looks awesome. Thank you. I hope that they like it. I mean, I'm willing to go either way. I saved the other version as well, so, you know, if we want to switch back, that's not a problem. I'm just playing with other ideas, so. But so let's see. I'm gonna go back to what I was doing before, or what I was about to do, which is, well, more sort of character profiles. So first things first, I need to get the image, my reference image, which is another piece of art I already made. So let's open that up. And now I have that to draw from. Okay. Hey, MGTOW Warrior, what's up? Okay, so I want to do this in blue so that I know. Real name is, guys, real name is James Avery. I don't know. Who's James Avery? Drawing a torso is like drawing a peanut or a bean. There we go. So, I got a message today from, well, I got it a couple days ago, but I didn't see it until today. From someone working and heat exhaustion don't mix. What's up, Black Knight Fool? I got a message today from someone that claimed that I was adding to a problem of Islamophobia. Well, he didn't call it Islamophobia, but anti-Islamic far-right sentiment. Basically is concern trolling me, I think. And he claims that he, you know, that I'm ignorant, that I'm ignorant to the ways in which the men's movement has become, as he describes it, Islamophobic. And he claims that this has been something that he's seen from Allison and Karen. And I mean, I get the sense that it's like, it sounds like it's just like, okay, you know, there are concerns that people discuss regarding Islam, because Islamic things happen. Like we're talking about the clash of cultures, you could say, right? And it's showing. Oh, that's right. This goes like this. The ways in which maybe we're not like super compatible, you know. But he tells a story. He told me the story about how he found Islam and thought that it, you know, and he's, I guess, a peaceful Western person who is a Muslim. And he said that there's this, like, you know, serious, like, anti-Islamic sentiment that's coming. And he calls it, one of the ways that he uses to, like, sort of make this argument is he says to me that, you know, he saw my video with Nama Cates, the woman who was doing the podcast on incels. I talked to her, I think it was last Monday. And he's basically using that to say, well, you know, you said in that interview that the far left has gone insane, but you ignore the far right. And of course that's kind of a trigger for me, because I don't know what he means by the far right. You know, like being anti-immigration, or no, not anti-immigration, I'm sorry. Being anti-Islam is not necessarily a right-wing thing. Just like being anti-Jew is not necessarily a right-wing thing, because there are plenty of leftists, that criticize and hate Jews, right? I mean, Ilhan Omar for one, right? And like Louis Farrakhan and stuff like that. So, but it was a weird concern trolling thing, and I did not understand where it was coming from, because I've always stuck up for Muslim men insofar as they are still men, for one, which is like important. And I don't engage in the tribalism that a lot of people who are more politically interested in this whole like religion thing, whether you call it anti-Islam, I think that it's just people vying for power through religion, or whether that's because they're anti-Muslim or they're anti-Christian, and they're just using Islam to further their ends. Does he have any proof, or does he think Islam is beyond criticism? We tend to not criticize the far right because it's assumed the left will, but it could look weird for somebody else. Yeah, but he's somebody that watches our content regularly, so he knows that we also criticize the we criticize conservatives, and tradcons. The far right is just libertarianism, and like, that's all it is. So yeah, we criticize conservatism and tradcons all the time, but on the other hand, tradcons and conservatives are willing to talk to us. Your concern troll sounds like ISIS BIP column psychological assault psyops. Well, anyway, he wrote an essay in Facebook, and he made it sound like, you know, I was almost right, but I'm just ignorant on a few things. It actually kind of reminded me of some of the stuff that Dean has said about us, which is not true. But I mean, I'm not. Look, I know for a fact that I try to bring nuance to the table in terms of discussing Islam, and so do we all. Because he basically said the honey badgers were like beyond saving, and it makes me think that Dean sent him, to be honest. Who are we talking about? Oh, it's just a message that I got. It's not a person, not specifically anyway. Come on, Allison and Mike did the white whammon video. Yeah, but like I said, more than that, we defend Muslim men because we know that we defend Islam by saying it's not an oppressive patriarchy. Well, at the very least, we defend it from the claims that it is. How is Dean doing? I don't know. He's lost it. Or, you know, I don't know. Like, if he had a point, I'd like to hear it. And well, the Dean thinks that we're just like anti-religious bigots, which is crazy because even though some of us are atheists and some of us practice like, you know, like, well, I wouldn't say practice, but some of us are like, maybe they have more pagan roots. Like, I know Hannah, you know, she was big into Wicca. She might still be big into Wicca, right? I was raised Catholic, but I moved away from it, and it's not really for me. But at the same time, though, I don't have a problem with people who are religious. I think that I think that religious folks get a bad rap, especially Christians. 'Cause I'm sorry, like, you know, I think that it's messed up, and I defend them. But I do the same for Muslims as well. I had on I Am Serious, and I appeared on his streams multiple times to you know, to chat with him, and he's a Muslim, and he told me about the gynocentrism that goes on in Islamic countries is like absolutely insane and of course it is. It makes perfect sense. They're gynocentric too. You know, we talk about the ways in which that gynocentrism is mistaken for patriarchy. We talk about how women in Islam have a tremendous amount of power, social power. That's, you know, that's obvious. They're the ones that do the radicalizing. Like, and of course, you know, to their credit, or to your credit, someone in the comments section said that no religion should be above criticism, and I agree with that. You know, 100%. I mean, I'm just like, I'm left here wondering, like, okay, so what do you want? Do you want me to like never talk about it again? Because like, as long, it's going to be a conversation for as long as you know, it exists. So okay, we're gonna zoom in here. I think they want a character profile for this, but I'm not really sure, so I'm just gonna... Social power isn't real power, disingenuous feminists. Yeah. Dean wants men's issues to be integrated with religion, which is nonsense. Yeah. I think that... So this guy, he says that he's a socially conservative, economically progressive type. So he calls himself a left libertarian, which... That sounds like the like literal opposite of what he describes himself as, but okay. But and so as a result of that, I think that he wants he believes that we can be that the MRM can and should be progressive, I think. And so there's another reason why I have my suspicions. Because, I mean, I talked to Lucian Valsan about it, and he makes a very good case as to how these things are just not compatible. Because, like, if you create a socialist government, and I mean, when I say that, I mean like the real definition, not like like the Norwegian version, which isn't even really socialist because it's capitalist. It's got a capitalist baseline, right? But if you really want to do that, you can't do that and advocate for men's issues at the same time, because men are the ones that are going to be paying. They're the ones that are going to suffer the most. And so I think that these things are fundamentally incompatible. I think that you can't be left-wing and be an MRA unless you just believe that that kind of equality is going to unless you believe that that kind of equality is going to benefit men. But I don't know. I don't see it. Okay. One creates socialist government. Socialism would be a social construct, now wouldn't it? Haha. Michael Keller. Religion is composed of individual humans. Humans are flawed individuals, and those flaws are magnified when placed in groups. Religions are groups, so the flaws of the individuals composing those groups are also magnified. Well, I mean, I think that, because this is the thing, like, then Dean believes that we are anti-religious, but I believe that human beings are always going to be religious. They're always going to be human beings looking for something bigger than themselves, right? I think it's in our nature to look for that. So, organized religion that respects individual rights is the best way to go, to be honest. And I think Christianity tends to be better about that. Because, like, if you don't have that, like, to be honest, if you don't already know this, atheism is how we got, I think, in a lot of ways, is how we got SJWs. Because the majority of SJWs are atheists. Right? Actually, let's do it this way. Let's have him smiling. Change this a little bit. Okay, that's better. Maybe Dean needs an inhaler and a snack. Oh. Maybe they blow themselves up to get away from the nagging wives. They blow themselves up because they're promised women in the afterlife. They're weaponized incels, man. I think a man who has a satisfying life is not going to kill himself. But a man who's like ready for suicide, and you tell him that, you know, he can make the world a better place by dying, and that he would be remembered as a hero and revered if he did that, I think that that's really tempting for men, especially men that don't, you know, they feel like that's actually going to make things better for them. And that's what I believe. Okay. Yeah, Brian, SJWs have a religion, social justice. Atheists do have science, though. SJWs don't have science, hence their feels over facts mentality. I think that their religion of social justice came out of their atheism, though. Like, if you ask them if they were atheists, they would say they were. I'm not criticizing all atheists, okay? Because I know that there are atheists watching, but you guys have to understand that there are a lot of people that really want to be atheists, but they can't abandon their desire to believe in something greater than themselves. Like, I don't mean that in terms of it being a supreme being. I mean that in terms of, like, if you take away religion, for most people, that takes away meaning. Now, atheists really want that because they're a bit nihilistic about that. That's why if you ask them, so what comes after you die, and they say nothing, well, then that's how you get this idea that there is nothing. I think that's where it comes from. And so I think that you're going to get, as a side effect of that, you're going to get people who are going to look for something else. Like, there are atheists, for example, that worship science. Right? The science worship is its own religion too. Why? And that comes from a desire for scientists to be seen as like the new clergy, that they make the world better, that they're supremely benevolent, and that they themselves, like, they know what's best for everyone. Why do you think that you know, like, there's so much of a obsession over why education is so important? Well, they think that education is like going to church. And I'm not saying there's no benefits to education, but remember what else is taught in schools. You know? And yeah, they become anti-science when it suits them. But I think that there's a lot of people that they borderline worship science, man. Look at Thunderfoot. I mean, he was what people would have thought of if they would have thought about an anti-SJW. Until where that led to where it would have gone logically, which is that, you know, there were going to be libertarian types questioning the sciences themselves, in that, you know, should these things be government funded? Should we be giving these people money? What is NASA doing, really? Why are we giving them so many of our tax dollars, etc., right? And because Thunderfoot himself is invested in those, like, sort of like grants and stuff, he doesn't want to lose that's essentially his livelihood. So he defends science like a zealot. Separating the church and state only allowed another religion to resurface and take over the university. Yeah, only because we didn't recognize it as a religion. And mainly because, I believe, The majority of the people that were deciding what constitutes a religion and what doesn't were these people, the ones that we're talking about, that ended up taking over the universities. If you ask them, feminism or is social progressivism a religion, they would say no, of course not. It's just being decent. It's just what it means to be a decent human being, to be a decent person, right? Well, that actually kind of exposes that it is, because they're saying they are the arbiters of what is and what is not a decent person. It's partly a side effect of atheism, but a lot of feminists are atheists because God is a misogynist and gays because he's homophobic. It's what they're mixing. For most of history, your church was mixed in your education. We allow drag queens to teach social justice to kindergartens. Yeah. Anyway, I don't understand where Dean gets that, because frankly, I don't attack religion. I try not to even attack Islam. Sometimes I'll make some spicy jokes about it, but like by and large, though, you know, I dated a Muslim girl. My best friends, some of my best friends are Muslim. No, but I dated a Muslim girl back in the day. She wasn't like a full-on, like, you know, Muslim girl, but nonetheless, I try to be objective when talking about the issues, and I don't. The right talks about them mainly. I think that not because I'm like one of these not all Muslims. I think that there's probably something to those central doctrines of Islam that are kind of, you know, because it's not like a regular religion. It's a political structure and a religion, and I think that is a problem. But that being said, I think the way that the right discusses the problem, I don't like it, because they try to use accusations of misogyny and rape culture to describe Islam, and I just don't think that that's accurate. That's my issue. And I think that that's something that nobody wants to do. I mean, why do you think we piss everyone off when we talk about Islam? We piss off the left because they don't want them to get criticized at all. We piss off the right because they think that we're, you know, like forgiving them in some way, or we're apologists. That's why we get labeled like Islamophobic apologists, because they can't conceive of what we're actually trying to talk about, which is the problem that we're really talking about. Is about men. It's not about Muslims. You know, the alt-right, those guys with the tiki torches, that's a male issue. That's what they're responding to. Their masculinity is in danger, and they're looking for something to do, like to do that, to stand for, to fight against. And why wouldn't they? I mean, they get attacked. Men get attacked on all sides just for being men. If the alt-right knew, or those guys that were at Charlottesville, I know they weren't all alt-right. There was a good number of people that were just free speech activists. But if the alt-right understood their what they want, you see, if the right knew that the source of their problems with anti-white sentiment and the changing of the country and all that had a lot more to do with their tribes sort of splintering and disintegrating because their connection to women was being lost, they would probably be a lot less anxious about the future. It's a masculinity issue, in my opinion. And unfortunately, as long as the right is focused on, race, and the left is focused on race, which both of them are doing. I mean, I think the only reason why there is an alt-right is because of the left, to be honest. And I don't think that that's refutable. And the way that the left treated white people and men, If they hadn't done that, we'd probably be okay right now. But eventually it was going to come forward anyway. But the point is, the left created this mess. And I think that the main reason why none of these problems are, I think, in my opinion anyway, they're never really going to get solved, is that they're all male problems that are being disguised, hidden as racial problems or as religion problems. And it's not to say that there aren't problems there, but I think that a lot more of it has to do with being male. Tribalism is never going to go away. It's always going to exist. But maybe the smallest tribe, if we can keep it small, can be the most positive and productive way that we as humans can sort of, that model, the smallest tribe, is probably the one that's going to be the most easy to manage. The moment you add too many people to it, it gets out of control, and there's crazy people start running the asylum, as it were. And I think to do that, you have to recognize that the smallest tribe is the family tribe. If that makes sense. Sure, the alt-right exists only due to the left. They labeled everything not left as alt-right, so yeah. They divided races into subgroups of sexes. I think it has to do with a lot of single men. Yes, exactly. That's what I'm saying. The disparities, where the separations are at, where the most important lines of division is between the sexes. A happy man is a man that's happy with a woman. A man that's happy with a woman isn't usually not concerned with, like, where the white race is. And the same thing is true of Antifa and the far left. That's a problem of masculinity too. Feminists weaponize single men, just like Islamists do. May the howl be with you. Say hi to your doggos for me, please. Well, it's just Jojo. Hi, Jojo. Michael Keller says hi. He's playing with his toy. He doesn't care. This Jojo is... he can be a little impersonal. So Vosh has been like making the rounds. I guess he did a debate with V Monroe. That's kind of terrifying. I mean, people are saying that he won. I didn't watch it. It's like 3 hours long. I got 15 minutes. I think I can finish this one. V can't debate. Wash, no Vosh. Vaush? Maybe Vaush. He's like this new lefty YouTuber that just came around. And he does streams, I guess. I came across him because Blair White shared a stream that she had with him where they talked about trans people or something, and maybe Blair White made him popular because then after that I started seeing him everywhere. You know, he debated Hunter Avalone. He debated well, I don't know if he debated anyone else. Maybe not. But he just sort of like came out of the blue, and now he's like, you know, he was on the Drunken Peasants, I think it was, and debated V. And of course V, he's too nice. He goes in with good faith too much. That's why, like, when he talks to Christy Winters, he hangs out with her, he considers her a friend. I'm like, Christy Winters does not like you, dude. I'm fairly certain she doesn't. I mean, she'll pay him lip service, but at the end of the day, he's a man. So unless you're like Kevin Logan and you submit, she's not gonna like you. Okay. The guy you're drawing looks like a young Diesel from WWE. I don't know who Diesel is. Blair White wants to talk to the president. Well, I'm sure a lot of people do. Which people despise the extended family? Which women? Well, that's just it, man. The tribe that we need to like bring back, because there's always going to be tribalism. We need to bring back the family tribe. That has to be a thing. And I think that's gonna win. So like that is the family. Because like a lot of times, like look, gangs, street gangs, like the one that this character here is in, for example, um, they are a replacement, a proxy for the family. That's what they are, right? Boys without mothers or without fathers, sorry, they end up um, looking for fathers in their peers. That's and how do they protect their family with violence? How do they like forward their agendas with violence? Because they defend them like they are their blood. And there's a lot of pain in gang members, like they don't have their fathers around, and they try to become that, but because they're raised by single moms, most of them, they act like they act in a feminine way. They respond in a feminine manner. It's just true. Do you guys live around any gangs? I grew up around them in Chicago. And I can tell you, a lot of broken homes. So I haven't seen any evidence that counters this, but I think that the family unit is the most important goal that the MRM should be going after. The ripple effect will be all over. Aren't Hispanics family oriented? Why would there be so many Latin gangs? Yeah, but there are still a lot of single moms. Or uninvolved fathers. Where they stay together, they do well, just like anywhere else. All right. Jojo, stop. Jojo. Okay, I think that's good. Just turn off the underdrawing here. Wait, what? Oh, I think I need to like make these lines a little bit thicker because There we go. All right. So there's another one. Just move it to there. Yeah. Let me see what you guys are saying, and then I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up because I think if I start something new, I'm not gonna be able to finish it. So, Blair White says she knows enough people that could get him to the president. You mean get her to the president? Or are you intentionally trolling? I could see it. She's got some people. She's been doing a lot of networking. This is why I think networking is really important. This is why I wanted the ICMI to have like people that weren't MRAs at it, because I think if they were exposed to the ideas, at least some of them will take them on, and it'll change things, and then we'll be able to get more ground, right? And this is another reason why I think that the press has taken such an interest in it, because it is becoming this popular, and I think people don't like it. It's just me, though. Gangs are substitute families. Yes, they are. Honey Badger Radio, what does it take to be a man? It's a good question to ask. Christy gives me the creeps. She reminds me of a few grade school teachers I hated for their passive cruelty and condescension. Yeah, she's like that character from Harry Potter, the woman that wore all pink and stuff. I forgot her name because I only saw the movies once, but she's like that. Latinas are infected with the equality virus and the welfare dependence train. Yeah. Hispanics being family oriented looks nice. I want that for myself, being non-Hispanic. They are, but it becomes more about like their definition of family in the States, at least in Chicago and stuff. It's sort of broadened a lot, so a lot of like broken families, single mothers, boyfriends, they get kind of sucked into it. It's nothing like it is in Puerto Rico, where there isn't that much of that. So when Christy talks to V, she always does the knife in the back talk. Oh yeah, I totally agree with you, but insert bullshit, you are wrong, and V falls for it a lot. Yeah. Why don't you have a Doge? Shiba Inu, you mean? Those things are really expensive. I'd like to have one, though. Looks like this character really needs a gun in his pocket. His shorts are way too tight. Blair, despite being trans, is a normie, and normies are really good at networking. I mean, I'm pretty good at networking, so am I a normie? Oh, I didn't mean to misgender her. Okay. Blair is a normie. I haven't watched her in years. Well, I mean, yeah, in a lot of ways. I had such a co-student wearing only pink and being what the term bitch describes perfectly. She was also the other who falsely accused me and 20 other guys. Wow. Bork. Bork indeed. Umbridge, I think her name is. Umbridge. From Harry Potter. That's basically Christy Winters. By the way, still arguing with Karen. They're still arguing right now on Twitter. Alright, well anyway, it's 1 o'clock. I'm gonna wrap this up, but this is as far as I got. So I finished this image, and I also just finished this one. I think I'm actually getting faster, so
has a gun?
Yeah.
He's not showing off his dick root?
No, he's not showing off his dick root. I mean, I guess he would, but... So anyway... Zeranx was the most likely to tell other people not to have children. Oh, okay. Yes, sir. Anyway. So, let me know what you guys think. Give me a like on this video if you could. Also, hit the bell for notifications and subscribe if you're not already subscribed. not necessarily in that order, and leave me a comment. So with that said, I'm going to get out of here. Thanks, guys, for coming on, and I'll talk to you later. Have a good one, everybody.